Le'umat, the opposite. Le'umat means the opposite. Zeh of this. Le'umat zeh, the opposite of this. This is usually referred, another name of it is called Sitra Achra, the other side. What does it mean, Sitra Achra? Sitra Achra is something that seems to be separate from God. That's called.
You're saying that's the same as the Nachal.
So Shittim, the Nachal Shittim is the river of egotism, the river of foolishness. Right? What is this river, this feeling that sweeps over the world, that encourages people to do things that are suicidal and that are harmful to themselves and that are wrong and that are harmful to others? What is it? It's called the river of craziness, river of egotism. And the job of the Jews is to take from the river of Eitan and water inundate and wash away the river of craziness. Va'al yadein, by means of, last page, here we go. Hamayan, by means of this river, Hayotse, that goes out.
You see this last 5 words?
Yes, on last 5. Here we go. Right? Okay, Shittim. The word Shittim, quote, Shittim, end quote, who is Shtus, the foolishness, de le'umatzeh, of the opposite side, in other words, of egotism. Va'al yadei, and by means of Hamayan, the spring, this wellspring, Hayotze, which comes out, Mi Beit Hashem, from the house of God, Shezehu, that this is, like we said before, Penimiut HaChachma, the inside of this Chachma, that's this level of Eitan, Bechinat Eitan, namely the power and the certainty, and if you want to call it the pleasure, the joy, and the meaning and the blessing of the Jewish soul. By means of this, Harizeh, behold this Mashke, it will water, it will irrigate Nachal Shittim, it will wash away the river of craziness. Sheneafach Latov, that it will be transformed to what? Good. And what does good mean? Good means it will be the way the Creator wants it to be. The way the Creator wants it to be. Like if a person comes and says he wants to cut off his hand, so you can say, okay, you can cut off your hand, but why do you want to do it for? Because I have free will. I want to do whatever. But you have to understand, if you do that, you're going to be maimed. You're going to be crippled. He says, what do you mean crippled? Who are you to say what a human being is? Who are you to say that a human being has to have 2 hands? What type of bigotry is this? What type of oppression is this? Right. No more right hand, right? No more right hands. We want to do what we want. We want to take off our right hands. We want to take off our right eye. We want to do. That's exactly what the leftists and these people want to do, right? They say we want to have permission to destroy ourselves if we want to. Right? Let a person do what he wants to. Wants to take drugs. Wants to let him destroy. Who are you to tell us not to do it? Who are you to tell us what's right and wrong? Right? The Torah comes and it says no. The nature of a human being is supposed to be. The nature of a human being is supposed to be that he wants to have a good world. He wants to give. He wants to think, what do I owe life, not what does life owe me. Right? Then a person's not going to be miserable all the time. He's not going to be, right? God gave you your eyes. He gave you your mouth. He can give you food also. He'll give you, don't worry. Just work, be honest, and everything will work all right. He says, no, that's what it means. But a person has a feeling. The whole thing depends on the letter Yud. This feeling of the oneness of God. And the feeling of the oneness of God permeates his mind and also his emotions. This is the thing you have to do on your own. You can read about it all you want to. But to do it on your own is not so easy. Right? You can read about how to be calm and how to let God do things and how to be industrious and how to be helpful and how not to be lazy. You can read about all these things. But if you like to be lazy, you're lazy. Right? You have to work on it. Not to be angry. You can give classes not to be angry. Like the marriage counselor that goes home and beats his wife. You can give classes about it all day. But to change it, sometimes it's very difficult. It says, how do you do it? By a person, first of all, start off from the beginning. Think about what God is. Contemplate the oneness of God. Feel Try to feel, try to understand. Ask questions. The oneness of God. God is creating. Then the implications that should come into your mind. Then into your emotions. Now let's take the last one. Let's do 5 more minutes. Can we do 5 more minutes? Been a little bit late. The Hey Acharona. So now we've understood what is the Yud. That's Chachma. Hey is Bina, understanding. Chachma is like faith, negation to Hashem. Hey, understanding. Vav are the emotions. That's what we just explained. By waking the emotions of the godly soul, you can affect the emotions of your animal soul. Okay, Shmui. Shmui. That's right. The Gimel, the Lehei Acharona. The last Hey of God's name. 5 more minutes. The Hey of God's name are there 3 sticks. The 3 sticks to the letter Hey. The top is Machshava. The right side is Dibur. And the left side, the one that's cut off, that's separated, there's a hole there, that's Maisa, action. The Gimel Kavim. Okay, so that says, Hey Acharona is this abbreviation. Machshava, Dibur, V'Maaseh. See the abbreviation? Yeah. Machshava, Dibur, Maaseh. Thought, speech, the Gimel Kavim. Now we're going to try to bring godliness, this feeling of the oneness of God, into our thought, speech, and action. And we're going to see this is the Torah. We'll see. The Gimel Kavim. That these 3 lions, She, Be, Hey, that are in the letter Hey, and they are Machshava, Dibur, Maaseh. Kanoda, as is known. Period. And they are Machshava, thought, Dibur, speech, Maaseh, and action. The Torah Shebal Peh, of the oral Torah, the Talmud, the Mishnah, the laws, the Malchut, because this letter Hey corresponds to the Malchut, the kingship of God. And we read in Pesach Eliyahu, which we read, it's a paragraph we read every Erev Shabbat. Some people read it every day. The Torah Shebal Peh, it says Malchut Peh, Torah Shebal Peh Karina Allah. That's what it says. That the kingship of God is called God's mouth, and that is the oral Torah. Torah Shebal Peh, Karina La, it is called. Hainu, namely, and this is going to be the hardest one, really getting down there, Shegam, that also, Torah Shebal Peh, that even the oral Torah, in other words, the laws, even the customs, your day-to-day actions that come from the oral Torah, Yihiyeh will be Habitul, negated, the Bechinas Chachma, of the level of Chachma. The Yud should be all the way down into Hey. Into the oral Torah. And you should know that usually all the enemies of Judaism, the first thing that they strike at is the oral Torah. The oral Torah. That's the whole thing of Christianity, is a war against the oral Torah, a war against the interpretation of the Torah. How do we bring it down into the physical world? Right? In the written Torah, it does not say you should put on tefillin, and it doesn't explain what tefillin are. It says you should put a ot on your arm and totafot between your eyes. And from the oral Torah explains what that is. The oral Torah explains what is a mezuzah. The oral Torah explains what you're supposed to do on Shabbos. It's the 10 Commandments. Keep the Shabbos. What are you supposed to keep? What does it mean to keep? It doesn't say you have to keep every Shabbat. It doesn't say which day is Shabbat. It doesn't say what it means to keep Shabbat. Right? So the oral Torah explains it. Oral Torah explains it. The oral Torah brings the written Torah into our day-to-day life. What does God want us to do with the limbs that He's creating, that with the mind that He's creating, with the heart that He's creating? We have to love God. We have to fear. What does this mean to love God? The writings of Chassidut, of Kabbalah, explain what does it mean to love God? What does it mean to fear God? That's all Torah Shebal Peh, if you want to call it that. Explanations. To bring godliness into these things is not so easy. It's not so easy. To bring godliness into the Torah Shebal Peh, there's always people that want to say, let us do it our way. Right? That's the Reform, conservative, and there are different shades. Right? Their big argument is with Torah Shebal Peh, the oral Torah, the interpretation of the Torah. Right? Where did you get this that men have to be separated from women? How do you know you can't drive to Shabbos with a car? Who says it's forbidden to turn on an electric light? Right? Who says that women have to go to the mikveh every 14 days? Who says these laws? Right? They're mentioned in the Torah in certain ways, right? They're mentioned in the Torah in certain ways, but all these laws and these details, where'd you get them all from? Right? Again, they're all taken from the oral Torah. Right? What is kosher? What's not kosher? Food. Everything is taken from the oral Torah. In other words, our day-to-day life. Good, so we want, but then you can get into a big problem. What's the problem? You can get and do all the laws of the Torah and forget about who gave the Torah. You can get into all the rituals and to be a part of the Jewish group, right? And to do what everybody else does and conform, but you can forget about the essence. Who's giving the Torah? Where did it come from? Right? Where did it come? This is my group against your group. It's like a political party. Oh, says the Rebbe, that's the hard thing. The hard thing is to do all the laws, but to bring the Yud into these laws, to bring this feeling of negation of God into these laws, that's a difficult thing, and that's what we're going to learn, God willing, next week.